great to have Angelina in, weren't it?
Always good.
Always great. Always great. No, yeah, as I say, Inside Devil, do you tune into that? You tune into all of the new bespoke programmes
Of course,
on
of course I do always have a look, always
channel.
follow what's going on, because this issue that's going on at the moment with Manchester United, like, I do think that it's very significant. You know, when you have a player, the gravity and the prestige of Wayne Rooney, having a pop at the current manager of Manchester United, I don't think that you can just dismiss this as being, a former player's having a pop at Manchester. It's not that. I feel like this is big. And the fact that Ruben Amorim has replied directly to Wayne Rooney, I think it's a problem.
Yeah, it's the direct reply that's interesting as well. And he's come out fighting, hasn't he? He said, I'm not naive. You know,
exactly.
Don't call me that.
He's directly addressed the criticism from Wayne Rooney. And I think that Wayne Rooney, as the Manchester United record goal scorer, as the Premier League icon, probably, you know, if you were to say one player, literally one player that represents the Premier League, the personification of the Premier League, I think it's Wayne Rooney. And he's obviously one of Manchester United's greatest ever players. And when you think about, like, the pantheon of greats that they've had, him coming out and saying this about his former club, which clearly comes from a place of consideration and love, I think it's really bad for Amorim. I do.
It's really bad PR for him, isn't it? But the one thing that I don't quite agree with Rooney on this, right, is that he's basically saying, no, look, you're being too ambitious for where you are right now. But it's not like Amorim has come out and said, we will win the league in 5 years. We will win the league in 3 years, even 10 years. He said, look, there's no time frame, but our goal is eventually to get Manchester United back to where they were, which is winning league titles. What is the big problem with that?
No, there isn't a problem with suggesting it in the way that exactly you did. But that's not quite what it did. You've put in quite a sympathetic calibration of what was said by Amorim. It was more talking about winning the league. It was talking about Manchester United with him at the helm winning the Premier League title. And Wayne Rooney's point here, which I think is totally legitimate, you're sitting below Brentford and Crystal Palace in the league. You're sitting below Tottenham Hotspur in the league. Like, you cannot talk about winning the Premier League. You've just been launched out of the FA Cup by Fulham. This is the worst collection of Manchester United players that most Manchester United fans have ever seen. Individually, when you look across that squad, this is the worst collection of players that Manchester United fans have ever seen. And let's face it, I've backed Amorim. I think he's a very good appointment, and I stand by me saying it's a good appointment. I think sometimes there are such a thing, and the nuance doesn't often work, particularly on YouTube and social media these days. You know, a good appointment, you say it's a good appointment and it doesn't work, and then it can't therefore be a good appointment. But sometimes I think there is a good appointment that doesn't work, but at the genesis of the appointment, it's still a good appointment. For example, when Chelsea appointed AVB, Andre Villas-Boas, as much as that didn't work out, he was one of Chelsea's worst ever managers. It was a progressive, noble appointment. It was a clever appointment.
At the time.
Just didn't work. When Chelsea appointed Luis Felipe Scolari, one of the worst managers I've ever seen Chelsea have. He won the World Cup with Brazil, man. It was like a good appointment. It just didn't work. Ruben Amorim is a good appointment, I think. But
will it eventually work, though?
I'm getting to the stage now. You know when people, a while ago, 6 weeks ago, they were saying it's wrong. Is it the wrong appointment? Do you need to almost like go back to the drawing board on it? I thought it was ridiculous. I thought, of course not. There has been no improvement. And I saw a damning stat. They were above Bournemouth when he took over. And if you look at the chasm between Bournemouth and Manchester United in the Premier League table now, he was above. Erik ten Hag left the situation, Manchester United above Bournemouth in the league. You look at the trajectory of those two clubs and you go, look, I don't think that Amorim is a bad manager, but I think he's making some really bad decisions.
But the other thing is that Ruben Amorim himself has come out and said, imagine being a Manchester United fan. The new coach that's come in is worse than the old coach. He's essentially said he's worse than Erik ten Hag. He's also compared himself to David Moyes before the Everton game and said, no, at the moment, Moyes is a better manager than me. He's called them the worst side maybe in Manchester United's history as well. Has he been more naive by setting big goals for Manchester United, or by consistently coming out and being so brutally honest?
It's getting it wrong, though. This is the PR of the job. I think that the Manchester United manager should be talking about winning the Premier League. I do. I think that should always be the aim. I didn't like it when Enzo Maresca said Chelsea weren't in a title race. The ambition is to be in a title race. But you have to get it right. This is the PR. This isn't necessarily explicitly about the words you say. It's when you say them, how you say them, and what's going on when you say them. In the summer, of course, Manchester United, as a club, as an entity, the manager of Manchester United should be talking about winning the Premier League. Manchester United are the most successful club in this country. Certainly the second most successful club in the country, depending on how you define it. The problem is they've just been launched out of cup by Fulham.
Yeah.
They've just watched Calvin Bassey score. Like, you can't talk about winning the Premier League.
What should he have been saying then, in your eyes? What do you think he should have been saying after that game?
The PR of the situation is we are going back to work. Days are like, what do fans want to hear? You were meant to have Monday off. You're not having Monday off anymore. You're in training early. I'm going to solve this problem. I'm going to work this problem out. The board will not get away with the lack of investment. It's Jose Mourinho style. It's watch this now. We're going to use this defeat, this low point as a springboard, and we're going to work our socks off effectively. I don't think that you can go, we're going to win the Premier League, because Rooney came, in the words that Rooney said as well, he spoke about the draw of Manchester United. Now, I've got this wrong a lot, Ollie, and where do you sit on it? I always believe that Manchester United can sign whoever they want. I always believe that. And I feel like I've been almost conditioned through my life, through the 90s, like through my footballing education, to believe that there's a geezer that's just scored a goal for Aston Villa in the League Cup final against Leeds United in 1993. He had a great season. His name was Dwight York. Man United signed him. There's another geezer in Newcastle who scored 42 goals in a Premier League season. His name was Andy Cole. They go and sign him. It almost doesn't matter. There's a fella doing the business at Leeds, Ferdinand Alan Smith. It doesn't matter.
But you still think Man United can do that?
Rooney has said it's not true anymore.
It's not true.
But, okay, I'll tell you where I got it wrong more recently. Remember when Jack Grealish was leaving Villa? I remember fervently arguing that Manchester United is a better proposition club to go to than Manchester City. I truly believed. But because Manchester City are, in my opinion, slightly underwhelming, and Manchester United are Manchester United. They are the theatre of dreams. They are the history.
In terms of Grealish winning silverware, that is an absolute no-brainer.
No, of course I got it wrong. He won a trophy, of course. Yeah, and it wasn't always. It wasn't only about what you can win. Of course, I concede that you probably win more, but I still felt like the allure of Manchester United was strong, and I felt like the allure of Manchester United was strong enough to woo a player, even if your chance of winning silverware was less. When Harry Kane was going to leave Tottenham, I was constantly saying Man United. Rooney has come out now, and Rooney has said, and in a way, Rooney has done Amorim a favour here, because Rooney has basically said, that club can't sign me anymore. That's effectively what he's saying.
Of course they can't.
Wayne Rooney, the starlet of the league.
What is the lure at the moment to Manchester United? A mess off the pitch.
One word, but it's a huge word. History. That counts, though. You know, if you could wear the number 7 shirt for Man United, does that matter still? I feel like it does, but I feel like I'm wrong. I feel like everyone thinks I'm wrong.
It does matter. There is so much history associated with that number, associated with the shirt and the badge. Of course there is. But we're talking about footballers wanting to bring success to themselves. Yeah. You're talking about Manchester United, who sit 14th. Their only hope, and it's a slim hope in my opinion, is going on to win the Europa League this season. They're out of both cups. Their manager buries the players every single week. Now, I know the only lure maybe at the moment in the summer would be, right, Amorim's building a new project. He has ambition. He wants to take this club back to where it was. So does that actually, when you think about it, make Rooney's comment about it being naive wrong? Because Amorim is trying to sell this club once again to players potentially to come along, because he's trying to sell his own project.
If we agree that you can't sign players, if we agree that Manchester United can no longer attract the best, then in a way he's doing Amorim a favour. But then Amorim has said, I'm not naive, I'm the 40-year-old manager. And you're kind of like, okay, surely being a 40-year-old manager of a club the size of Manchester United simply by definition has an element of naivety to it.
Yeah.
Like at 40, you're perfecting your craft, you're learning. You know, you're only just older than some of the players. You know, how old's Casemiro? So there has to be an element of naivety to it.
Yeah.
So I just can't believe that Amorim reacted.
I think he's made so many honest, revelations during his time so far as manager. But I think the one that would have worried me was when he said, "I have to sell my idea. I don't have another one." That shows naivety to me. That shows a manager that, all right, and I fully respect you want to stick to your principles, you want to stick to the way that you have played, and it has brought him success. And I do respect that. But to say that, actually, I'm out of ideas here if this doesn't work, that is worrying.
I think that's worrying. But also, what did you think of him saying to Rooney, which I thought was quite conceited, but also quite hostile to Rooney? Basically, it's easy being a pundit. Easy option. Is it not, am I going too far here? But is the implication here, the cowardly decision is to be a pundit? I'm a manager, I'm on a front line, I'm 40 years old, I'm the Man United manager, I'm the one taking a punt here, I'm the one fighting. you've taken the easy option in the Sky studio.
Well, it's a bit strange, isn't it? Because as much as it hasn't gone well, Rooney has also been a manager in very recent times as well. So you'd understand it a bit more, wouldn't you, if he was aiming that at Roy Keane or Carragher. But Rooney, all right, it didn't go well, but he has actually done it. He's been a manager as well. It was a bit snide, that I would say.
The whole thing, comment. Like nobody is painting themselves in a particularly good colour here. Like, and especially Ruben Amorim, because that's who the highlight, like the limelight is on Amorim. So when people go, well, Rooney didn't need to say it. Like, Rooney did need to say it. He's in a studio. He literally does need to say things. Yeah, it
was his opinion. It matters. That's why he's been hired to do that job. Yeah, interesting. Anyway, we'll see how it all plays out. This is The Social here on talkSPORT 2 with William Hill, 18+. Be gamble aware. .org. In just a moment, we'll bring you the Monday Club. That one is coming up from 5 o'clock, where we'll go through all of the weekend's action from the FA Cup. Yes, we might bring up Newcastle United again and their disaster against Brighton. This is The Social here on talkSPORT 2.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.